Hi everybody, happy Thursday to all of you. I wanted to just get on here a few minutes before Hoda did to touch base with everybody, tell everybody that I'm thinking of them, tell everybody to hang in there. It's Thursday, it's almost Friday, and then it's Saturday and Sunday, and we get to do this all again next week. One of the great things I have to look forward to every day is being home together with all of you. So I want to thank all of you who make time every day at 2 o'clock to join these home together conversations. It really means a lot to me, and I've been hearing from so many of you who are either living alone, dealing with kids who are little or kids who are adults, dealing with partners who are at home, and so really being involved in different living situations than you were a couple weeks ago, and looking for inspiration, looking for topics to talk about at dinner after these are over. So I'm really glad that these are hitting a nerve or hitting a core or providing some inspiration for the thousands of you who join here every day. Also, so many of you have had really great ideas who you want me to try to get to come on here and talk. Somebody today suggested my cousin Patrick Kennedy to come on and talk about mental health because he's been such an advocate and an activist in that space. So I'm going to make a call to him and see if he'll join us. Tomorrow we're going to be speaking with Bethenny Frankel about her work to raise money to get masks to our extraordinary healthcare workers who are on the front lines, and also to my cousin Joe Kennedy, who is there in the Congress, just voted on this big relief package. So if you have questions for either one of them, we're going to try 2 back-to-back conversations and see how that works. So we're just kind of making this up as we go along. But I've been so moved by all of you who've joined in. So let me see if Hoda's on here. She's never done this before either. She didn't know how to do this, so I was trying to explain it to her. Not that I'm any genius on this, because I didn't know how to do this till last week. So we're all becoming resourceful. One of the things that the governor here said was that we're going to all learn how to lean on each other. We're going to learn how to trust one another. We're going to learn that we're dependent, independent, interconnected, and that we're way more resourceful than we ever thought we were. All of us could do things we never thought we could do. And certainly, I think we're all learning that. We're all capable of doing things we never thought that we could before we had this experience. So that's, I wanted to see some of the questions. There's a lot of questions coming up here. So Hoda is not here yet, but she just has to, I talked to her this morning, so she asked me how to do this, and I tried to explain it to her, but God knows how that works. Question, our kids shared a video for other kids on the topic of COVID-19. I sent it to Maria, Janie Gibson. I haven't gotten that, but I'll look for it. We need positive facts. We need light at the end of the tunnel. You're right. We all are looking for light at the end of the tunnel, and sometimes we have to create that light ourselves. We have to create it in the things that we read. We have to create it with our imagination. We have to create it with videos like this. We have to create light in conversations. I found myself yesterday, I felt a little bit down. I was feeling like, oh wow, I don't feel any end in sight here. So I called a great friend of mine, Nadine, and I took a walk, quite a long walk with her, talking to me on the phone. And then I called my daughter, and she talked to me. She suggested that I get in the car and drive, which I thought was a great idea. I didn't do it, but I thought it was a great idea. And so I think, trying to be creative with what we can do versus what we used to be able to do. I think if a lot of us sit and, oh, wait a second, maybe there's Hoda. Oh, good, there's Hoda. Now I add her. So it says waiting for Hoda. So she's never done this either. So there we go. Hopefully she'll now pop up into this live conversation if we did it right. But maybe we didn't do it right. So she should have popped up. So let me see. Okay, Hoda, add Hoda. Hoda is unable to join, it says. Hoda is unable to join. So we don't know why Hoda is unable to join. We're going to try to add her again. Waiting for Hoda. Hoda is still unable to join. So that I know. Yesterday, Kevin Love said it was his thing because he didn't know how. Now it says waiting for Hoda. Kevin Love yesterday said he'd never done this before, so he didn't know how to do it, and so he kept bouncing off. But eventually, he figured out how to do it, and I'm highly confident that Hoda will also figure out how to do it. I don't think her kids are old enough to show her how to do it, like my kids were old. Somebody, I hope, in the neighborhood can show Hoda. It says connecting, so maybe, just maybe, she'll be able to figure it out. She's been anchoring the Today Show, going in every morning at like 3:30 in the morning, all by herself. We were talking about that this morning, what that's like, and she said it was kind of eerily peaceful. And several of you asked questions about, is that safe? What's that really like? So we'll ask her about that if she ever pops in here. It keeps saying connecting, connecting. So if any of you have any questions in the meantime, let's try it again. Let's see, Hoda again, Hoda copy again, add, waiting for Hoda. So I want to hear how all of you are doing as we wait for Hoda, if you're hanging in.
I got it.
Oh! There you are.
I hear you. I see you.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm so happy. We spoke early this morning. So welcome. Is Patrick with you today? Came up a question. He's
Now,
coming.
wait, what's weird, Maria, can I say something? What's weird is I can hear what you were saying like a few seconds ago. I don't know why.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So Hoda, I was just saying several people asked me questions. So Hoda's been going in to do the Today Show, leaving at 3:30 in the morning with Eddie, who has been driving her in. And you go in, there's no hair, there's no makeup, there are no people. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I'm hearing like this weird echo. I hear you, and then I hear you like a minute later asking me again.
So I was asking you what it's like doing the Today Show now all by yourselves.
Yes. There's nobody there. Yeah, there's nobody there. Okay. Can we try to connect one more time?
Okay. Bye.
It's just like a funk. I'm going to try one more time.
Take those things out of your ears
Okay.
and just listen.
Take them out?
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Is that it?
Hold on. I'm going to, yes.
That's you?
That's it? I don't have them in my ears, so I just thought maybe that's it.
Okay, can you hear me
now?
without them in? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, let's do it this way.
Okay, perfect. So what's it like in there all by yourselves?
Well, it is kind of weird because I've never, I mean, I get picked up around 3:45. Eddie's waiting for me. I roll into work and literally Joe, who's one of our security guards, you know, Joe, he opens one door and everything else is propped open. So you walk up to where it's usually bustling. It's got the plaza where there's usually concerts and people lined up and all that stuff. Yeah. And you walk, really the weirdest thing in the world. Nobody's in hair and makeup. There are no producers. There's no one in wardrobe. Literally, I got a text that said, hey, get your iron ready because nobody's in wardrobe and relearn how to use. I wanted like hot rollers from the 80s. That's what I really wanted. I wanted to go old school. But it was weird and it was peaceful. I think some people may have walked in and felt like afraid just because New York feels like you could take a nap on Broadway and no one would run you over. Like it feels so empty. You either find it disturbing, which it, you know, with the numbers and the stats it is, but there's also a very strange, like, I don't know. I don't want to call it serenity. That sounds odd, but it's like everybody's on pause. And I've never seen that. Never.
Ever. And we were talking to everybody saying you've been doing an amazing job going in there because the news is in a way, people say they kind of want to pull themselves away from the news because it's so depressing, but they depend on the news now more than ever.
Yeah, I feel like there's a balance because we have such a captive audience. Nobody's going anywhere. So I thought since the beginning, like, you don't have to hit anyone over the head. Everybody's right there. We don't have to try. Just in a calm way, say what's going on, because nobody's moving. Everybody's with us. So I was thinking, you know, often for morning shows, you try to do a clever tease or you try to do this or that because people are walking in and out of the house. They're taking their kids to school. They're busy. Now everybody's calm and captive. So I think we have to reflect that too, which is what I think we've been trying to do. We've been trying to, like, we've had a lot of really hard hitting interviews and we've had the lighter stuff, but I feel like I keep thinking, if I were at home and if I were afraid, how would I want this news to be delivered to me? And it's the same news that almost everybody's giving, but I just feel like it's that tone. And I mean, I feel like we are like, it's like this perfect dichotomy right now of like trying so hard to not give up and also completely surrendering. Like, I feel like that's what life is. It's like, don't give up, but somehow you have to surrender. And I was talking to my friend Karen about that concept. And I said, that's how every day is. You fight, but at the end of the day, you know, you're not in charge. You're not in control.
I love that, in a way that you're both kind of using everything you've learned to be the professional that you are, and then also understanding that it's way bigger than you are, and you have to let go to a certain degree and try to kind of dig into yourself and find a tone that maybe you started out with or that you have at home that maybe is more beneficial now in the news.
Yeah, who would have ever thought that that's the way we would have been doing it? I mean, we're taught and trained a certain way to deliver things and to be, you know, just to try to do it with just authority, really, and all these things. And then at the end of the day, you realize, like, all we're doing is talking to people and explaining what the heck is going on. And when something's scary and unsettling, you can choose who you want to tell that. Who you want, you know, what person you want to tell that news to you. I'm picky about that too. Like, I don't want to be beaten over the head with scariness.
No,
it's already scary.
You always think about, you've got your mom who's watching. You were saying to me today that your mom texted you and like, fix your hair, you know.
Oh, she was like, because, you know, I'm like learning to use all the stuff again. And my mom goes, run your fingers through your hair. It's sticking straight up. I was like, literally during the thing, I was like, so I texted her like in the commercial, got it. But it's sweet, but that is it. That's who we're talking to. You're right.
Patrick has now joined us, and he was saying to say hi to Hoda.
Hi,
hey,
Patrick.
Hoda, how are you?
Oh, you're adorable.
I have my co-host. But I said, you know, this morning when I woke up, I got this video from Hoda, and it was, you were saying to me that you had been on the bike and you heard that song, Rise Up, and you asked one of the producers, can we put some video to that? And talk a little bit about that, because I gave it to Patrick and he said, I'm going to put it up because people my age don't watch the Today Show.
Yeah, exactly.
I reposted it. I thought it was so beautiful and emotional. And I reposted it because, you know, so much of today, on whether it's on Instagram or the news, I think you were just talking about on this live, has been like people wanting to watch the news to get informed, but at the same time distance themselves from the news because it's too much information and it's seeming a lot of negative stuff. And the segment this morning kind of put together a variety of inspirational but also just uplifting and beautiful kind of clips together that almost made me feel like there was it did make me feel like there was a sense of hope and community in our country, and something where people were actually putting their differences to the side and helping, being a helping hand and helping their neighbor and helping their fellow American and you know, just humans in general. So I was like really blown away by the editing, obviously with the song as well.
It was her idea.
You know what's funny?
How you came up with the idea?
So I'm trying to do a little exercise every day because I feel like, blech, you know how you're like, you always think you're sick. You're like, oh my God, my glands, do I have something? So I'm always trying to get some fresh air and trying to get out in it. But in this particular case, it was pouring rain. I got on the Peloton and I was spinning, and the song by Andra Day came on, and it's called Rise Up. And I literally stopped during the ride and was weeping. I was like, oh my God, that song. And all I could picture were all these wonderful, like just first responders and healthcare workers and just people helping. So I called Robin, who's my A1 producer, and I said to her, I said, listen, I heard this song. I said, play it right. I just texted you, play it as we're on the phone. And she was listening, and I said, I can just picture healthcare workers. And she said, I like it. She said, but all the healthcare workers we're seeing, all you see are eyes. You don't see them. And it's hard to, for that to resonate when you can't really see into the person's eyes. And I said, Robin, I know you. I said, you're like incredible. I said, we could do it with healthcare workers and first responders and for just regular people, helping people banging pots and pans on their balcony. And sure enough, they got together, she and this wonderful editor named Joe Andre, and he's actually in his house, she's in her house, and they sent it to me this morning. And I wept too, because there's something about it just restores your faith, because I think we can all like live in our bubbles and think to ourselves, like, what's going on out there? But when you see collectively what people are doing, like it blows your mind. And it's like the smallest thing. There's one shot of these kids, these two little like 6-year-olds with a wagon full of toilet paper.
Yeah.
And you just imagine them dropping it off at people's homes because they need it. And I just was so touched by all the little things people are doing.
Hoda, one of the questions here is how you're so positive and you're in the news business. How do you keep that up right now every day, particularly when you're going in there by yourself?
Yeah. You know what's funny? I have a great family. What's funny, the other day, I think that's it really, because I was sitting at the table on the rainy day. It was yesterday or the day before. It was pouring. I'm sitting with Hope and Haley, and I said to them, oh, let's play a rainy song. And they were like, okay. So I was looking through and I saw Gordon Lightfoot's Rainy Day People. It's like a super oldie.
Yeah.
So I played it. Rainy day people always sing. Anyway, I was playing the song, and Joel walks down the stairs and he looks at me and I look at him, and I stood up and we started dancing. And Haley looked at us, covered up her mouth, was giggling like she had not seen that before. And Hope was looking at us, and we were just doing like an old junior high school slow dance. And Haley popped up. She held on to my thigh and Joel's thigh, and she looked up and she said, we're a family. And I could cry thinking about it, but it was so moving to me. And I thought, like, when you have that, like, the world makes sense even on its worst days, on its worst days. And look, my heart goes out because I spent most of my life by myself without that. So I know exactly what that feels like too. But I think there is something about knowing all the goodness that's out there. I think I try to see the good. Like, I think some people see a painting and there's a crack on the bottom and they go, okay, that's great, but did you see the bottom? Like, somebody needs to fix that. I just feel like there's two ways to look at the world. You can be the person who sees the crack on the bottom, or you can be the person who sees the picture. Like, look at the picture.
I think that so much of, like you had just said, there's always in life two ways to look at everything. It's either happening to you or kind of for you.
Oh,
and I think through these conversations we've talked to so many people, and they've tried to kind of stop what they're doing and realize what's happening and try to look for the opportunity and look at it in a positive way and realize that, yes, we're all in this right now. We're kind of stuck. We're working from home. What are things that we can kind of change to adapt, or what is the change of mindset that we can have to look at this in a more positive way? And we talked with some, small business owners that had gyms that were shifting their whole model to online, or to pizza stores that were, moving everything to, ordering and delivery, or, I guess in the news industry, people having to film from home, or these conversations from the house. She bought her own tripod for the first time and is working Instagram Live. So, are there any tips that you guys are doing in your kind of space? Because, I think you're such a motivating person to us, but also to so many millions of Americans, that it's important you keep your job up. But are there anything that you're having to change use this time to look for other opportunities to shift your work or anything like that?
Well, it's funny. They actually built a mini studio downstairs where I am right now, and that will likely get into use pretty soon. I'm assuming, just because of the way everybody's dropping like flies. I mean, my God, like you kind of. I mean, pretty soon, who knows? If
the last person there, everybody.
I know it's like hi,
stick, everything.
Yeah, but we do have that set up here, Patrick. So we feel like it's, we just want to get ahead of it. But I got to tell you, the strangest feeling is like Joel's upstairs working right now. The kids are downstairs right now. They're about to have their dinner. And we have never had this many dance parties. Joel hasn't had this many meals with the kids since I think we adopted them, just because of the way we're all under the same roof. And I don't know what I expected, but I didn't expect this. Like all of a sudden, like Haley's, I don't think she's ever been happier, because she turns around and there we are all the time. No one's ever going anywhere. This is where we're staying. And the security for a lot of children to wake up and know their parent is there, and to know their parents there for lunch, and to know their parents are always going to be there. And it's, I think there's something that's just beautiful about it. That, yeah. I mean, when in life look, whenever you're alone in your house, you're always like, okay, I got to do something. Okay, I need to talk to someone. I'm bored. Oh my God, I got to go. And you rarely look inward. You just don't. You never have to, because there's always something to fill your time, I'll make a phone call. I got to do this. I got to clean that. And people are finding themselves all of a sudden sitting with themselves.
Yeah.
Like, you have to look inside.
What have you learned, Hoda, about yourself in this time? I know you mentioned that because Joel normally travels so much.
Yes, he does.
And several people here are like, I've been married 40 years. I've never seen my husband so much as I've seen now. So many people at home with little kids like you, adult kids like me. And, the family dynamic is shifting dramatically in houses all over. And people are finding they're in this collective experience, but also in a very individual experience. Has anything surprised you about yourself as you go into work, or whole experience?
I think, it's funny. I knew I chose right with Joel, but I think it was just underscored again in this crisis, because he's been so just beautifully measured and calm. And I didn't even realize that was one of the things I loved about him. And I think when you choose a partner, you don't really know who they are until it gets like this. You really don't. Because truth be told, in life, most of life, I mean, there are punctuation marks in life. There are like great things, graduations and weddings and birthdays. And then there are terrible things like loss and illness. But most days are Wednesday, just a plain old nothing day. And, I think what I realize is, in this house, I like Wednesday. Like, I like a regular day. I like being together without a million things to do and to fill and to, like, we have a lot to talk about. We have a cool kind of family unit. And I think I knew that, but I don't know how much I realized it until we're actually living that. I mean, we've never spent more time together, which is, things get deep when you do that. You're like, because sometimes we skim the surface, you get like parallel lives, and you're like, oh, hey, everything's great. Hey, and all of a sudden you're under the same roof and stuff's going down, and you realize you can't avoid it. You have to have conversations. You have to get real. So I guess
I love that, what you just said about Joel, that you didn't really realize how measured he was. Maybe you did, but you get to see it.
In action.
Yeah. And so it's, here's a question. How's your mom doing during this time? What book are you currently reading?
I love it.
Right.
Well, my mom's doing great. She's by herself, which is kind of a bummer to me. That really bugs me, because I feel like, you just want to be there. But she woke up at 6:30. She told me she took her shower. She likes to go early for a walk when no one's out. she comes back. She has to have a schedule and something to look forward to. So she works her thing into a schedule. And the books, hold on, let's go over here. I'm just
here, somebody's telling you The Gift of an Ordinary Day by Katrina Kennison is a book. Actually, I know that, The Gift of an Ordinary Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's what you just said. And there's
okay. I don't know if you can see that one, but I've got a real good one right here.
What's that? I can't see it. Oh, stop it.
I've got that one. I've got Mary Oliver's Devotions.
You know who took the photo of the cover, right?
I heard a rumor. Babe, it was you?
Oh, yeah.
By the way,
iPhone. Shot on an
that's an unbelievable cover.
Right? It just happened. She was just sitting there, and I decided to take the photo, and then lo and
can't
behold, I
believe
got a stack of papers to sign off on it.
Yeah, he wanted to know if he was going to get paid or like he was getting any residuals or anything
So
like
bad.
that. I was like, no, that's not happening. But I know when you were saying there's so many millions of people who are alone. And
Yeah.
I've been saying, that Patrick moved in with me so that I wouldn't be alone, which is such a great thing. And I know so many other adult kids have moved in. So maybe that's a great story to do for the Today Show about how
Maybe that is a good one, yeah.
Yeah, how many adult kids have moved in with their parents and what that's like. And
Or lack of people, because, I was in a similar situation kind of where you are, where you're saying you wish you were with your mom and she's alone.
Yes.
And I wanted to kind of, check in with my mom and see her, because we always see each other every Sunday for dinner. But at the same time, with the virus and everything, it's not something where you can go and do your normal things and then go hang out with her and check on her. So then that was when I kind of decided, for the next whatever weeks, I'm going to go and stay with her and not leave the house, so that I'm not exposed to anything and I could just actually, spend time with her. But it was kind of like, I didn't know how it would go, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know another time in my life that I'm going to be able to, live with mom again.
Oh.
Or
How is it going, by the way?
How what?
How is it going?
No, it's been going great.
what did he just do?
No, I made his face. We've found a lot of shows to watch. We've been making food, hanging out. We've been obsessed with Tiger King, this show on Netflix.
What's that?
Oh, you
Oh my
gotta
God.
watch it.
Tiger King?
It'll
It'll blow your mind. You guys have to watch it. It's insane. I mean, we weren't even planning on watching it. You guys were watching something else, and then the trailer came up on Netflix, and we both were just like, "What is this?" And then within the last 5 days, it's become a phenomenon. I mean, everybody's talking about it. It's the weirdest, funkiest, crazy show ever, but it's fun. So we're finding fun things to do and hanging out and just kind of doing things that we haven't been able to do or haven't even thought of doing in years. And I think that it's kind of like a nice moment in time that allows people to kind of stop and be thankful and blessed for the small things. Whether that's just being able to go outside when this is all done, or go, someone said, I finally know why my dog is so happy to finally go on walks all the time, because it's like you start to recognize the little things.
Oh, God. I love that. Oh, I love that.
How are the kids doing? Do they understand what's going on? So many people at home with little kids.
It's funny. Haley's 3, Hope's about to be 1. And Haley keeps asking, like, are you sick? Are you feeling okay? And I guess it's because without knowing, I keep asking everybody in the house, like, how you doing? Everybody good? How you feeling? You're okay? And I see her doing that. And I saw her, I put my hand on Hope's head because I was like, she coughed. I was like, oh my God, she coughed. And Haley started doing that. So I just realized, I don't know what you say to a 3-year-old other than, I don't think she has any idea what we're talking about, except for everybody's home and she likes that.
Yeah.
So we're trying not to, we use different words just because she's 3 and, who wants that burden on a 3-year-old, but we just use other words. And I think we're just focusing on, like, we're all together, we're going to have fun, that kind of thing.
Finally, Hoda, there's a question here from, Clovis, 531. How do you handle the anxiety and stay upbeat? So many people are struggling with anxiety, and wanting to know how anybody, especially somebody who has to go on every single day and be upbeat, how do you handle anxiety and stay upbeat?
I think I I mean, I guess part of it is I feel like everything's going to be okay in the end. Like I have that weird feeling of seeing the end of it. So when you're in it, and I know, because I remember when I was sick with cancer, I remembered like being able to see the end. Like I felt like I could see the end.
Yeah.
And I didn't get stuck in the weeds so much because it's easy. You're like, oh my God, this is going to be how it's going to be forever. But it's really not going to be that way forever. And even like at the lowest point of my cancer diagnosis or what we're feeling today, everyone has their own thing. But I feel like you can see the other side. It's not coming soon, but it's coming. So knowing that this isn't going to be the state forever kind of eases my anxiety. It's like, I know it will pass. And I feel like I have a warm hand on my heart. I feel like it's going to be okay. So I think probably even when I start every work day, and I know that there's a lot of heavy stuff to talk about and most of it is horrible, like inside I have that feeling. I'm like, okay, like this is the story of today and the story of tomorrow will be different. And in a month from now, the story will be different again. And we're going to go, and there will be one day coming up where we'll go back to the stuff we used to cover that was so stupid now that we look at it. But, you know, wow, we thought that was a big deal. But we'll cover it again, and, you know, life will go back. So I feel like, you know, that saying, you know, I feel like everything's going to be okay in the end. And if it's not okay, then it's not the end. Like it'll come.
Right.
That's so great. I love that. I think there's so many people. I tweeted out the other day that advice from people who have struggled with anxiety. I said, you can lead us because now everybody's having anxiety. What are the things you've done? And
That's
I
great.
what you just said about having cancer, that people who've had cancer, who've, you know, been in these kind of life and death situations, they can lead us forward because you're just saying you knew you've been in that situation and you knew that there was light at the end of the tunnel. So that's advice for your generation.
It is.
Right?
Great.
Yeah, because this is their first really big bump.
This is their first bump. You're right. Yeah.
Their first big, you know, kind of whoa.
Right.
And so to hear that people, you know, get through illnesses, get through anxiety,
Yes.
come out the other end of addiction and mental health, and we'll come out the other end of this.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree as well.
great.
I love you.
I know
I love you
have
guys.
You have dinner with the kids. You have to
Yes.
get up bright and early. Thank you so much.
Love
I
you.
Love you. I
Bye,
love
Maria.
you.
Bye, Patrick.
Bye. Good to see
Love
you.
you guys. See you. Bye, honey.
Hoda.
Okay, I want to thank everybody. Patrick Good.
Yes, sorry, I was a little tardy, a little late.
That's great, but so many people joined in. Thank you so much for doing that. Hoda is such an inspiration, such a great friend, has been such a light in my own life. So I was so glad that she was able to do this because I know she's such a light in so many other people's lives. People suggested that we talk to Patrick Kennedy about mental health. That he has a lot of, which is, I think, another really good idea. We were talking Michael Phelps last night. We saw him
There's
talking.
Christopher on here again.
Oh, Christopher. Where is Christopher?
Once again, great job well done, Ma and Rika. Thank you.
Okay. That's Christopher, our youngest son, and Patrick's brother is in Michigan. He was quarantined up there, so he's not with us. So once again, is Patrick joining you today? Yes, people were wondering where you were, Patrick. You were missed.
I know, I'm sorry.
I know, so that's great. And so there'll be other people. Staying in touch with friends is very important. Suzanne Todd, that's true. She's a great friend. So we're trying to do these, bring people that are inspirational. Simon Sinek is going to join us next week. Rob Lowe, who's going to talk about how to keep your sobriety in check. So many friends of mine are not able to attend their meetings. And so he's going to talk about how you keep your meetings going, so to speak, at this time. And who else were we talking about? Ed?
Surprises.
Oh, we have lots of surprises. Okay, we have lots and lots of surprises of all ages, all walks of life. These are the helpers, the healers, the cultivators of hope. And so tell us who you think we should talk to. You should talk with Kathy Lee Gifford. I will definitely give her a shout.
That's a good idea.
That's a really good idea. And try to talk to some people with Patrick's age group. people
Yep.
that are, you know, the guys from Super Coffee, which is a company that you've invested in. It's a great company, and there are three young brothers doing incredible work. They have great ideas for young entrepreneurs. And we're going to put these in the Sunday paper. So hopefully if you get the Sunday paper, you can sign up for it. You can watch these, watch them on YouTube as well. And we'll keep, as long as we're home together, we'll keep doing
Keep on pushing along.
Laird Hamilton. That's a really good idea. That's actually a really good idea.
Laird's good.
Laird is
Justin.
good. Rachel Hollis, that's
Justin's
also
good.
a really
Ellen's
good
good.
idea. A lot of good ideas here. Oh my God, can you book these people for me? Yeah, so people at home with little kids like Jenna, that's really good. Well, Hoda has little kids at home, and I think that is, you know, people with little kids have certain issues. People with big kids have other issues. People who are alone have other issues. Education.
Lewis.
Who?
Lewis. Lewis
Oh yeah,
House,
Lewis
or-
House. That's another good suggestion. There's so many good suggestions. So we want to Oprah. That's true. Could you get God as a guest?
That
God
would
is,
be great.
yeah, but God is in me all the time.
He's
So
here.
I'm always having conversations with God. They're just not up on Instagram Live. But I hope you guys have whoever your God is. Dr. Shefali, she's good. We did a lot with her on the third hour of today, but you're right, she's also really great. Gabby Bernstein, that's going to be good to have Laird and Gabby together.
It would
Yes,
be.
right. And so anyway, that's good. Franklin Graham. There's a lot of really great ideas. Just found the Tiger King. I don't know where he is, but don't tell us the end.
Don't tell us. Go and enjoy the show. Have fun, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Thanks.